Hello, everyone, and welcome to March the 24th regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 7:21. I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Curtis.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda. Sure. I'd like to move the bylaw section 9.1 up to 5 above supplemental.
Okay. Is there any other changes or deletions? Okay, all those in favor of the motion as it is amended? Carried. Next up, let's look for a motion to approve the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, we have delegation is Mr. Warwala regarding Foxview.
Does this work? Yep. Okay. Okay, so none of these things have to do with rezoning, but more for the future plans in the development of Foxview. So this was with regards to the lots that are rezoning for R3, but where questions are is with regards to if phase 1 of Foxview is now full, and then this is going to be phase 2 going south, and this is now going to be full of R3, what's the plans for phase 3? Then headed west, because on the west side of that street it's actually all DC, and the right hand side of the street is actually R1. We addressed that earlier, how that was not correct. Is there a possibility of having like a cul-de-sac put in place? Mrs. Warawa talked about that, just so that at least it gives the illusion to the north where Foxview Estates for single family homes is, that is a separate from the R3s that are below. Out of everybody who signed that petition, I'm not sure if anybody wants to put that road through. I don't know if anybody cares for that road to be put through. It'll just increase the traffic in that area. And so what we're asking is, if this is going to get pushed through anyway, as we're changing things, is there the potential to create this illusion anyway of our Foxview single family homes for that to be put through? Next slide, please. This picture here was kind of the idea of what we thought was going to go into Foxview, or the understanding of this rezoning, so I won't speak to this, but it was the skinny homes. So next slide. So with the land use map, you can go to the next slide because nobody can see that anyways from there. So here's Foxview, and the line that meets between DC and R1. We're asking what's the plans for this, because if you go to the next slide, that's the cul-de-sac picture. Actually, you can go back one slide. Sorry, Jameson. This one right there, yeah, cul-de-sac one. Yeah, next one, there you go. So here would be the potential where we'd say, okay, like at least if, whether it's a property that is actually at the end of that cul-de-sac or not, is there the possibility of doing something like this? Now, it does not change any of the traffic that is going to be going northbound on 55th Street. That would be going into that area, but what it would do would be reduce the amount of traffic that would be traveling along 60th and then over to 54th, 53rd, whatever it is there. So just as a concession of what is a possibility of happening. Next slide, please. So this is the town of Vegreville's site of Foxview, and it says fully serviced lots, build your dream home, get a lot for a little, and it was get more, build your dream home in Foxview. Nothing on this ever said, come live in multifamily housing or affordable housing or rent in our premier neighborhood of Vegreville. So this is what the town has advertised. You branded it as such. I bought and I built, and now I feel like I've been bamboozled into this whole situation. I understand that we have the authority to change zonings at particular times, but if we couldn't come from a concession of that, why not move it, let's say, 1 block west of there where the plan was for to have more multifamily housing? And instead of 14 lots, well, there's 20 lots that would be available that we could potentially do. All the fire hydrants are already there. If the town, it's not costing taxpayers any money for the utilities to be put in or for the road to be put in, then give them 20 lots if they want 20 lots instead of that being done. Next slide, please. Here's some pictures of the current construction in Foxview, and this was discussed earlier at the rezoning. And questions that come up are like, who vetted this current company to come in and do this? Like, other than Tim Hortons benefiting from this because their cups are blowing all around the neighborhood, and the concrete, and I heard that was against their will because they wanted to bring concrete out of the city.
I won't listen to something that's not true.
Okay.
You negotiate it right off the bat with the concrete company. So if you're gonna keep going, I would expect you to tell the truth. Don't
This is
speculate.
my understanding.
Okay.
This is totally my understanding of it, is that the understanding is that when we addressed this earlier, the concrete was poured in -20. Building code is 72 hours of heat, and yet building and development have plans or have their permits that are signed off that either this was done, whatever. We would have had potentially 7 great homes on foundations there, but these foundations have frozen before they've had a chance to cure in that 72 hours. I understand it's none of your jobs to do this, and it's not my job either. But the reason why I'm bringing it up here is because it becomes an ethical issue of what is the town doing to ensure the quality of these homes and the future Vegreville residents are actually being taken care of. Because ultimately, I feel like it falls on the town for this.
So you're the one that is the investigative person over there on what type of heat blankets they did, how much heat they put in there. This is your specialty?
Nope, not at all.
Okay,
Not at all.
so
I'm asking that this is what the consensus is.
consensus of who? Like the consensus of the cement company? Or the consensus of the neighborhood watch? Like, I'm not understanding what made you such a specialist in all this. I mean, the home warranty group that they work under will come out and test the cement before that they go ahead with it. The cement company was not willing to pour cement until they proved that they could provide the heat and the blankets. So I'm not sure where your specialty is in this situation.
I didn't say I had a specialty in this,
Oh,
but
okay.
can I ask
Okay,
you,
so-
can I ask that, you said New Home Warranty is coming out to test the concrete?
Well,
You
I would
know
imagine that-
Oh, sorry, you know that as a fact, or you imagine? Because you just told me not to say anything that I don't know is true.
You know what? I'll make sure they do.
Okay,
Okay?
Thank you.
That's what I can do.
okay, that is great, thank you.
Okay, so you have more questions on the development of how Foxview, or how it looks going west?
Next slide, please. Okay, so a couple questions was, there are 2 properties that are existing in Foxview whereby the neighboring properties of this developer has already poured the basements. And as part of the development and building permits that are submitted to the town, elevation is on those development and building permits. And so, as you can see in the bottom left here, the elevation on the poured property that's not constructed yet is significantly higher than the one that is currently there. And so the question is, are there some, oh, well, first of all, did these elevations get approved as this? Were they submitted as this and approved? Or is this a developer did not actually put it in to the elevations that they said they were going to.
Okay, Director Lefebvre, can you explain what the problem is here and where it came from?
We are in talks with the survey company that was hired. In fact, I just got a message today at about 4:10 that they are looking into what they have submitted. The homes get built, before they get built, they submit a grading plan or an elevation height, and our development agreement says that you are at least at 3% plus or minus 1. So it gives you some room to where you'd like to put it. That ensures that you can get some flow to municipal property so it doesn't end up on private property. So we've obviously seen those two homes, and we've been working with the developer and now with Hagan Surveys, who placed the plots for those two homes. So it's in the works at this point.
So the problem lies with the surveyor and the developer, and they will be addressed.
Okay. Thank you. Last question, I guess. So next slide, please. Oh, no, actually, don't move yet. There's a fire hydrant right in the middle of this driveway.
Is it in the middle?
Well, it's not quite the middle,
Ah,
sorry. You're right.
it's-
You're right, yeah.
yeah,
But they do have to back out of it and back around a fire hydrant as they're.
Well, you know what, we're gonna have to address that.
So the question is this on taxpayers' dime to move this fire hydrant, or is this on the developer, the builders? Because.
Well, I don't think the
this was-
taxpayers is their fault.
I don't think so either, so I'm
Okay,
just,
well then,
no, you could just say, no, the town is not paying for this.
yeah, well,
Okay,
it's not in the middle of the driveway neither.
you're right. Okay, next slide, please. I don't even know what to say about this. Just stuff ever, but whatever. Okay, next slide. I don't know if I have anything more. No, that's it. Okay, so the last question is, if this road is getting built, it was the understanding for current Foxview owners that when the road gets put in, because it was supposed to hypothetically get put in after it was like one more lot sold and then all the seven sold, is there a second lift of pavement that is going to be going in front of the current Foxview residences?
Well, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Perfect. Since I can't talk to anything else, I think I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
At this time, can I direct a question to Director Lefebvre, Your Worship?
Certainly, go ahead.
Through you to Director Lefebvre. I think it might be helpful for those that are gathered to understand a little bit of the history, to be able to understand the process, because there have been a couple of questions that have been levied by Mr. Warwa as well as Mr. Wojah that would, I think, maybe be helpful for those that are gathered here to understand what the town's responsibility is. And I guess maybe I would want to be very clear, when you say the town, who do you mean? Because council has a very limited scope in this process. And this piece of property has a long history, kind of a contentious history in the community. So I think it's important for us to all understand, if you wouldn't mind, Director Lefebvre, giving us a brief history about whose responsibility it is at each stage of the game. And maybe just a brief comment about why direct control is not effective land use planning, why that's not a good idea to just throw things up willy-nilly.
I can. I don't want to address everybody. The microphone's over here. We'll do our best. A little history on our Foxview or the Brasso development. It was done in the very late 70s, as Councillor Lemko had alluded to. In the last plan that I could find was from 1984. I'm sorry if I'm not looking at you guys. 1984, which had primarily an R1. There was some R2 in that area as well, with two other areas of R3. So there was a mix, and a park as well, obviously. So there was a mix in it. The Brasso subdivision became the property of the town through tax forfeiture in 1996. And then in 1997, the designation went direct control and then park. And it sat like that for many years. In 2015, this was subdivided. Some of the park that was there, the size of the park was reduced so we could get more residential homes on the east side of 55th Street. and then the subdivision went through. And then the following year in 2016, the direct control portion of what is now Foxview Part 2 became R1, and then the park section was redesignated from park, the small section of the park, to R1, and that's how we moved through the years till we got to where we are now. The problem we have in development with direct control is it gives the council of the day the ability to pick what they would like to have happen that day. And there is times in history, not saying with our community, but in other places where at times you can get different things happening where the liquor store's next to the daycare. You know, things like that can happen with direct control. So we try to leave things as direct control off the side, and then when we start developing, council will meet. Actually, the land use committee will meet, which is 3 members of council, 2 members of the general public that represent business, and 2 members of the general public that represent the residents, and they did meet as was talked about earlier. So they're the ones that go through and make a recommendation to council. So that's the committee. So then council takes that recommendation and through our process gives it first reading, which doesn't mean it's approved. It means the process has now started. And then we go through the advertising that we've done and then provide information to the public so that council can see how that process is going. So this is your opportunity to have your say in exactly what you're doing now with this process. If we get into now switching to say development building permits, you want to build, you've got your lot, it's this classification of lot, you fill out the development permit and we say, yes, what you want to do fits in this designation, you're awarded your development permit. Then we hire a company called the Inspections Group because they are the building inspectors. That's what we pay them for and we have for some time. I'm not a building inspector. I understand a lot about it, but my background is not a building inspector. We hire them and they come out and they take all of the building plans, which have your elevations, which have absolutely everything in it, the setbacks, all your fire ratings, how close you to your outbuildings, your accessory buildings, your garage, and they set fire ratings, and they're the ones that uphold the Alberta Building Code for us. The Alberta Building Code is what also stipulates what has to be done for, the big talk is the concrete and the cold. How about framing? How about all of the things, the elevations and grades? Not the elevations and grades, that's done through land use and the inspections group when they do the building plan. So once that's done, we have checked and into it, obviously, and the land use bylaw states for, say, the 2 homes in question with the grading issue that appear to be high, and they do appear to be high for sure, is that they can't drain their stormwater onto private property. It has to go to municipal land. So it's either going to the back to the park, if that's the case, or it's going forward to the street, or if you live someplace else in town, it goes to the rear lane. But it has to go to municipal lands. And there's different ways you can do it. If your building is up high, because they're not over the height requirement for the building in that designation, but they can do different things, either swale, I've seen retaining walls, anything, and the town can make them do that. It's just through land use bylaw. I don't care if your homes are 30 years old and your neighbor's water's been leaking into your house and into your basement. There's a means through land use bylaw and a process to us to do through court order, of course, and then go onto the property and fix the problem at the end of the day. It's a last resort because it's very time consuming, but it is something that we have the ability to manage. So it may not appear to look that those 2 homes are ideal in height, but there is a means so that we don't have an ill effect on the property owner next. And that's a legal thing that we can do. That's not asking the developer to do it. We can talk about 10-year warranties, we can talk about all that stuff. At the end of the day, the town for drainage has that trump card that we can pull, and we have used it in the past, and it works. Kind of went all over the place with that, but.
Thank you, Director Lefebvre, for explaining. I think that might be helpful, just to make it clear what role everybody plays along the process here. And thank you very much. I'll refer back to the chair. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Now to 5.1, which used to be 9.1, and we're going to go ahead with the bylaw itself. So at this time, I would take a motion for the second reading on land use 02/2025 land use bylaw. Councillor Barry, you make the motion. Okay, at this time, comments. Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Okay, so probably no secret, and I'll keep my code of conduct in check. So my feeling on this is I want to see productivity in town and the population growing. So with the businesses in town, there is a few businesses that I've talked to, that talked to me, actually came to me, and it's saying that about getting employees in town, they seem to have trouble finding some employees. Some of them are tradespeople, some are just regular retail people, okay? So one of the places that told me, which was looking for a tradesperson, said that they had people actually apply for the job, one specifically that they needed, and they wanted to move their family here, but he couldn't find suitable housing that he wanted, okay? Young family, so affordable. He didn't like some of the older homes, he mentioned to me, and he said there wasn't anything really affordable in the newer end for them at this time. So that's one example, okay? Another example of a business talking to me was they just couldn't find some retail people. They've had people apply, they didn't find them suitable, and they're still looking, as far as I know to this point. Now, another thing is with, mention the industrial development just to the east of town, so Prosperity Park. So when we have Invest Alberta looking at our community and helping us with people coming to invest, some of the criteria they're looking for is if our population will support their business. They're looking for actually a workforce that they don't want to take away from the existing businesses in this town. Okay, they don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. So they're asking, part to that, what housing do we have available? They realize we have a 0% rental vacancy rate right now. So there's a bit of a problem for us. I see you nodding your head sideways or whatever, you don't think that's possible? I don't know, there's people saying they can't rent. I don't, maybe there's not up to the standard of what they want. Okay, so maybe that's it. And maybe some of the rentals here are probably, some of us might not want to live in. So I know you have some rental properties and someone would be lucky to rent one from from you, right? So that's part of my decision why I support this development. Now, my question about, I asked in the last session about what was serviced and what wasn't. That plays a part of it. So yes, it's advantageous to the town to use that area because there's some service there, for sure. The park is a big thing. To rebuild that park right now with the BMX track and stuff like that, I could suggest it's probably 150, 200,000 to get the park to that level. We don't want to try and build one somewhere else when we got something. Now, that's an attractive area for young families to go. That park was there when I moved there, when our kids was growing up. So I'm a resident of that area too. So yes, I know there'll be more increased traffic in the area, maybe not on my street, but I tell you, for the past, since 1997 on my street, it's been a pretty busy street. I'm okay with it. It works. So that's kind of where I'm going with this and why I think it's a good thing for the community. I understand what you're saying about the beautiful home you built. You know, I get it. I get it. We're somewhat limited and dollars only go so far. The government has cut back funding on municipal infrastructure to the point of half of what they used to provide us with. So we're getting our hands tied a bit. We'd like to be able to expand and make everything nice if we can. Like, to the best of our ability, I believe we will. And I don't believe none of us ran for council to make a problem for everybody. Unfortunately, I realize since I got into here, we can't make everybody happy. And it's not because we want to make people unhappy. It isn't. So we're trying to do the best we can for our community, you know, and I'll sell my old home to somebody eventually when I'm ready to go move into my condo down at Riverview Estates. So that'll be an affordable house for somebody, but they're gonna have to remodel it because it probably won't be up to their standards because I still got mahogany and I got a pink tub. So, you know, but that's me. So that's an affordable home that some people wouldn't like because it's not modern. So, and back when I bought my first house in town, I paid a whopping $46,000 for it. My second one, I paid 70-some thousand for. Now it seems like to get into a nice new home, 300,000 don't cut it, you know, on a single family home. And so I guess the disadvantage to the young people or younger couples is that they have to cough up more, where we didn't have to. Maybe their wages weren't as high back then, but it was just easier to get into. So in buying an old home like mine, and let's say they're selling for more than what the assessed value is, like mine would, I know mine is probably around 230 grand. My assessed value is not there. Last year's was 170 some. The bank doesn't want to give them the money for it if they want to do a renovation. So we take all these things into consideration. You know, we do. And we're just trying to make the community build. That's all I can say. That's why I support this decision. You can boo me at the end of the meeting. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Berry, thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, as you know, I sit on the St. Joseph General Hospital Community Board, and I also sit on the Committee for Attraction and Retention for Healthcare Workers. There's two primary issues that plague our community, and that is daycare and housing. Recently, as I informed council, the hospital lost a registered nurse because she couldn't find daycare. And there's a problem with trying to get more people to move here. But the good news is that daycare spaces are being created. And in part, council can thank for that. So that's one issue that maybe we've got addressed. However, housing, particularly affordable housing units and rentals, that is making it difficult to recruit new residents of every walk of life. And I'm certain that we can share some facts on just how many houses are around and what the rental rate really is in this town, the vacancy rate. So when our A&R committee meets with prospective new doctors, we like to take them around and show them all the amenities of town, and sometimes with their families. We show them the hospital, the clinic, we take them to the schools, we take them to recreational and sports facilities, and we take them to the parks and playgrounds, and they're impressed. They are actually impressed with our town. But then the questions come. How about housing? How about rentals? And that's where the conversation becomes difficult. And lately, that can be a factor in healthcare workers choosing to go somewhere else. So, Your Worship, I believe that I can safely say that the committees that I sit on are pleased that Council is taking steps to address the community's housing shortage, particularly of new affordable housing units and rentals. So I thank you all.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Berry. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. I'm known as the stats guy, so I did a little bit of digging. I have some stats here. Like the population of Vegreville right now is probably the highest it's ever been. It's over 6,100 people. It's almost a 5% rise in 2 years. If we expect to keep that growth going, and even with data from the surrounding area, so from here to Lloyd, you know, it can be expected to be up to 12.7% over the next 16 years. So how are we going to get ahead of the curve? How are we going to make it, you know, an opportunity for people to come here? We did a community survey finding, and over 42% of the respondents had comments on housing, and I want to read some of the comments out. Housing is non-existent. We need builders to come to this region. Our municipal government needs to band together and get the resources needed to build residential housing. I need employees to move to town, but there's a lack of adequate housing. The lack of suitable, affordable housing to attract workers for industry is a problem. I think housing is the biggest need in our community, but I guess it's for the whole region as well. There aren't very many houses that I would consider suitable for living in. How can we expect people to move here if that is all they have to choose from? Vegreville's apartment vacancy rate, 0.6%, so maybe not 0, but 0.6%, down from 2% in 2023, which is still not very much room. Well below the 4.3 average at other rural communities, and that's all populations under 10,000, which we would be considered in. You know, I think when I joined up to get on council and was voted in by the good people of the town, I said I would look at everything holistically, and not the blinders on, as far as my peripherals will go. I want my children to be able to get a job in this town and stay in this town. I want them to be able to buy their home here. I want your children to be able to buy a home and stay in this town. Right now, with the way that the real estate market is, if a home sells, we're losing somebody to get somebody. That's a net zero. That's not growth. That's staying the same. So for me, this is why I support this. We need to start now. We need to get housing. We're bringing business to town that will have good jobs for people in this town, people to stay, people to come. And that's why I support this.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Rudick.
Thank you. As I said before, it is a pleasure to have so many faces here, and if you're ever bored, please tune in to our YouTube meetings. It really is the whole reason why any of us on council have put our names forward. It's an opportunity to make our community better where we live here too. This is where we've chosen to raise our families, put our businesses, and spend our time trying to do the things that we can to make Vegreville better. And as the Dean of Council, the Mayor likes to call me the oldest, but that would be factually incorrect.
Longest serving, I said.
Oh, yes, thank you. I've seen a few different versions of conversation about land use planning. And over the years, there have been different folks that have showed up here. And part of the reason that I understand why you're feeling concerned or your questions are pointed, it's because the single largest investment any of us will make is in our home. And when our homes are potentially feeling questioned, that might be something that you want to be able to feel secure. To that point, some of the things that have been my biggest focus since I was elected on council, when I first was elected, our youngest was 2 years old. So we have 4 children. And at that time, the same focus that I had when I first ran is the same focus that I have now, is that I don't think that your postal code or your wallet should determine your outcome. And a lot of the advocacy that this council has done in the 3 previous councils that I've been on is making sure that people that live in Vegreville, all of you, all of us, the people that are yet to come, have the best quality of life that they possibly can. And the only way that we can do that is make it sustainable. So we can't do one and done. We can't do 10 toes in, 10 toes out. That is not the kind of growth that we need. That's not the kind of growth that's going to make this community the place that our kids can thrive. We can access quality health care. We can have safety to be able to enjoy leisure activities. People can retire. People can start businesses. And so some of that work right from the very beginning is thinking about a bigger picture, and not just where we are, but where we need to be. And some of that's uncomfortable. And it isn't always things that I liked either. And so in this process, changing the zoning is part of a bigger picture. So part of our growth that we talked about when I was Chair of Economic Development is I wanted to be able to quantify our growth by tying it to population growth. And we did it. At that time, the Economic Development Board wanted to demonstrate success by matching provincial growth rate. Well, we've exceeded that. And we're one of the few rural communities that's done that. Most rural communities are shrinking. And we, in 2022, were part of an architectural scoping project with Elk Island Public Schools. It was a painful conversation for folks there, myself included. Right now, we have all of our infrastructure in our education system, both public and Catholic school boards, are about the same age. So it's an uncomfortable conversation to even consider as somebody who was a young mom when I was first elected, still have a kid in the school right now, to think about if we don't have more behinds in those seats, we're going to have to get rid of one of those schools. And that's kind of where the conversation went when we did Elk Island Public School. Architectural scoping is talking about how we can support that growth. And I can tell you, this council has been very, very focused on making sure that your taxes go down. And the way that we do that is making sure that we have a higher assessment. The way that we do that is by having more houses built. We have more infill houses built. We have more businesses coming to town. We can't expect the federal and the provincial government to give us more money. They're giving us less all the time. So part of that is making sure that we have young families here to populate those schools, and they don't have a place to live. And it's not anecdotal when we talk about the conversation. We just met with Elk Island Catholic School Board this week, or last week. They had the same conversation. We asked them to wait to do their scoping on their school as well. Because when you have 2 old structures, the natural progression when the province is trying to reduce the number of buildings that they have to build, and they want to build more in Edmonton and Calgary and Lethbridge and all of those cities that are growing. They only built 6 rural schools in this budget alone. I'll tell you, Vegreville wasn't one of them, but it will be. And the only way that it's going to happen is if we have this conversation, and it may be that conversation that this is part of a bigger picture. In order for us to be able to have the people in this community to fill our hospital with workers, to be able to provide the people to build a daycare, to be able to teach at the schools, to be able to work at the businesses that we're trying to bring here as council, we need to have a place for them to live. And part of that is rezoning. And it's a business decision. None of us are developers here. But we are part of a bigger picture, and part of our job as council is to make this community welcoming in every sense. Welcoming to businesses that might be interested, welcoming to doctors that might be interested in coming here, making sure that people that are coming to our neighborhoods, and I think your neighborhood is a great example, that are starting to be generationally changing. You've got 2 different generations right in this room. I'm excited about what Vegreville has done to this point, and it's not just the people that are sitting here, it's you. There was a question asked in the previous, is what would benefit the town, or that the town would be the beneficiaries of selling these lots? It's not the town, it's you. You own those lots, actually. And the only way that we can get those back into the way of being able to share the tax burden is to have them sold. As it stands right now, each of us own a piece of those lots. And it hasn't made any kind of generation of income for any of us. In order for us to be able to move forward and increase the number of kids that are here, some of you might still be having more children. I'm done. I've brought some of my family back here, and they're bringing the next generation too. But I'll tell you right now, this council wants to work with Elk Island Public and Elk Island Catholic Schools to ensure that we have the best possible schools for the kids that are here and the kids that are in the future. But right now, there is no place for those families to be able to live. And that is part of the bigger picture. So I encourage more conversation, and talk to us in between meetings too. So that if there are other questions, all of us have our information on the website, and we're interested in being able to have the feedback. So thank you. Thanks for being here tonight and making sure that we know that you care.
Okay, Council Lumpko, I'll let you go last. I'm going to answer the questions like I said I would in your petition. So you'll go last.
Okay.
You're the person that's closest to all this. Reasons for the opposition. So number 1, it was Foxview was created to be an estates. Well, it was actually created to satisfy what we thought the needs were for single-family homes. The Foxview Estates name came from a public contest. It wasn't that we were looking to build $3 million houses or make it into some elite part of town. We were just looking to build some lots for single-family homes. The next part in here, previously approved to purchase multiple lots in order to build custom homes were rejected. I don't know who said that. Do you guys remember us rejecting?
Not this council.
No.
So there's a lot of lore, and I guess this is part of the reason, sorry, Your Worship, through you to Director Lefebvre, this is why I asked that question before too, is that I think it's probably helpful to have some historical, factual information about that subdivision. This council has never denied a multifamily housing unit because that wouldn't be our job.
No, here what they're saying is that council turned down many offers for lots in Foxview. No, that's not the case.
Council can't turn that down.
I mean, if the lots were even further below than what we thought was fair, we said no to, but it wasn't like there was people lined up to buy the lots. Okay, so let's understand that. That's not what happened. Rezoning for Foxview Estates will eliminate the ability for single-family homes. It will take it away for right now. Right now, until we develop another plan where it's going to go, it definitely will. But we have 7, and hopefully they'll sell, and, you know, who knows? I mean, maybe not the whole town would be bad-mouthing everything about the homes, and maybe they will have a chance to sell. Rezoning could negatively affect the value of our properties in the entire area. Did somebody say that they were building subsidized homes? I mean, that's what I have across from my house. You guys all realize that, right? It's all subsidized homes over there. Did it bring down my property values? I don't think so. It's our understanding the developer is looking to subdivide these lots to further create row housing, triplexes, fourplexes in each lot instead of building 15 homes in a premier estate area. Developer will be building 40 triplexes, slim houses, projected, advertising $300,000 for 2 bedrooms. Garage. Current Vegreville residents do not have the opportunity to see development plans for this rezoning before it is approved by the town. Once rezoning is approved, residents no longer have a say in what's developed. Well, when this rezoning is done, there is checks and balances to the system. The developer has to go to planning and development to get a development permit. And within that permit, he has to show how the parking's gonna work. And there's a lot of questions that have to be answered that council doesn't have a say in. Would I like to see it as mixed, a couple of duplexes and some triplexes? For sure. Because that's what we see today when we go to new areas. You go to Sherwood Park, you go to Lloyd, you see mixed. A one crescent, full great big houses, turn the corner. We have triplexes, and across the road duplexes. I would love to see that type of development. And we will push hard to have something that we can be proud of in our community. Rezoning could change the aesthetics, the community character, and family feel of the surrounding neighborhood. I don't know. We're kind of hoping to get a bunch of young families. That's what we're shooting for. I mean, I wouldn't think that the town would feel that young families would be a problem. You know, nurses, maybe even some teachers might even live in our town instead of beating the students to the parking lot when they leave. Might be nice if they had an option to buy here. How will the town address the increased demands on existing roads, water, sewer, gas, electrical? How will the demands be met with so much increased infrastructure? Who will pay for the upgrades? Well, unlike phase 1, the developer will pay for those. Phase 1, the taxpayers of Vegreville subsidized every lot. Every taxpayer in this town, every business in this town paid over half the development cost of each lot. And that's what we're trying to get away from. So I want everybody to understand that. The $900,000 to develop that road alone into 14 lots, and we can't sell a lot for $35,000 in phase 1. So if you do the math, would you develop that property? No, you certainly wouldn't. And can we expect the taxpayers of Vegreville to subsidize anymore? No, I don't think we can. I don't know what everybody in this town thinks what it costs for infrastructure today, but it is unbelievable. We offered this project, the way it looks today, at 14 lots to some local people that were interested in it. They went out and got the quotes on what it's going to cost. They laughed. They said, there's no way you would ever get your money back. It's true. Half the cost of all those lots in phase 1 were subsidized by the taxpayers. But we were trying to stimulate growth in single-family homes. But what happened? We built 14 lots, we had 4 homes built, and the rest of the lots sat there. We had some offers that weren't acceptable. I mean, we have a certain obligation to at least expect some return back for the taxpayers. I hope you all agree that we do have that responsibility. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to A, on the south side. Currently, urban reserve. We all think we all know where this is. Hopefully you all do. That's Alex Horvat's land. You can't develop in there without a lift station. Pretty sure 15 years ago, the lift station was around $600,000. I wouldn't even want to guess what it costs today to put a lift station in there. B, southeast side of Vegreville, near Bruce Road. $2 million for phase 1 to develop it. That's roads, curbs, sidewalks, and shallows. $2 million. And it would be in a big, awful lot of a legal battle that we would be in with the previous owner. We're going to get here. In the next few years, we're going to get here. It's going to happen. But I don't understand why you think that these people that live there would be better off with what you don't want. This anywhere but here just doesn't make sense to me. So those people over there, they would be better off with that type of housing. That's not a good excuse. Anyway, that's off the table for right now. But we do have plans, and we're pushing hard to find a developer who will come in here and help us there. C, west side by Composite High. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but we're doing a big study on the needs for a new rec center. And there's a whole new subdivision that would be in behind here. So it needs a whole lot of planning, probably about $200,000 worth of planning in an aerial structural plan and how this would look. So we don't want to eliminate all of our options, okay? That's why we can't build there. South side near St. Mary's. Okay, I took the developer there. Very low land, no services in there, and they'd have to buy the property. They said no. Flat out, nope, don't want it. I don't know what else we could have done. We can't give them the land, we don't own it. Could we offer them a bunch of money to help them service it? We'd be in the same boat that we were on phase 1 of Foxview. So it's not a good plan. North side near Chimney Springs. Took them over there too. No, they don't want that. They want to be near this park. They want to attract young families. They feel that this is not good for what their plan is. So we tried. It wasn't like we didn't try. Don't think we didn't have a plan. We've been trying everything that we possibly can as a council to try to find solutions. We know what our housing problem is. It's crazy. I mean, we've heard here tonight that we were promised an industry and, they didn't come and, it's on our egg on our face. We are working with industry every day. If you want industry, you know what you got to show them? You got to show them you're going to be able to supply some houses. We just had a conversation with a company that's going to be building the first building here. We're talking about temporary camps in Vegreville. Temporary camps for their construction crews and their first labor force. If you don't understand the needs, and if the only reason that you say that this is not possible in your area because you don't want it, give it to somebody else. $900,000 to develop that road and put these in. I think that we can be a little more community-minded on what the needs are of our community. Councillor Rudick was very polite when she said about the architectural value scoping that the public school board did. Do you all see the results of that scoping? They will close A.L. Horton, and they will make K-12 at the comp. That's what they're saying. If we don't increase the number of students from the age of 0 to 3 is what they watch. All their plans are made on. We had supper with the Catholic School Division the other day. Their plan would be if everything that their facts and their statistics from 2 years ago, not the new ones that we see today, from 2 years ago, they would close A.L. Horton and move things over to St. Mary's. If we continue to be the oldest community in Vegreville, they don't build onto schools when you're in that age group. We are seeing growth right now, and we are trying to support it. For anybody that thinks that we haven't done our due diligence, I mean, I could go through the rest of these and the rest of these properties if you want, Mr. Rawawa, but it's not like we haven't shown them to the developer. We know who owns them and how much they want for them. And we know how many people they can put on them. As a matter of fact, I might even have somebody interested in putting an apartment building on one of these last two right now. Because we are at 0.06 in our rental units. Okay, I hope I've answered the questions that you had in here. And I want you to know that in no way do we sit here and appreciate any comments like we haven't done our due diligence or we haven't thought about it. This is all we've been thinking about for 2 terms. Since the case processing center closed, we have said that we would not let this community die. And we went out and we raised the funds to build that park. And we're almost there. We're gonna have holes in the ground this summer. We're gonna have businesses. And we're getting there. And the biggest need what we see right now in our community is affordable housing. Not slum housing, not subsidized housing, not a bunch of people that are gonna be moving into your neighborhood that you think are gonna belittle your property. Because I hope you don't think that. Because I hope as people from Vegreville, the citizens of Vegreville, we're better than that. I really do. And to say that the only reason that we shouldn't do this because it's in your neighborhood, we got to be bigger than that. This is what we need at this time. And we will address where we're going to put single-family housing. By the time that we get done this summer, we are going to be putting together plans of what can happen in the southeast corner. What's going to happen across from the case processing center. We can only deal with town-owned land that we own. We can't make decisions on private ownership of land. We can't tell them to give the land to a developer. Because you know what they'd say? It ain't happening. You know, I'm not very good at reading anything. I like to talk to everybody and what I know. And if this wasn't what we needed right now, I don't think any of us would be sitting here telling you that this is what we need. I don't want them to close the schools. I don't want businesses struggling, bringing in mechanics, and they come and take a look at our town and go run right back to Lloyd. There's no place for me to live. Councilor Wawa sent this. I wanted to say this, it's not just housing as an effort for people, for new people, but there's even a shortage for local. Her son had experienced the lack of housing options and his friend had not found a place. When he went out to buy a house, he looked at a couple and the next day they were gone. He put an offer on one he looked at because he didn't want it sold the next day. His 2 friends, all graduated from Lakeland, moved back to town. They don't have a place to live. They're living with him. They want to buy a house. These are real problems. We take pride in educating our youth. We send them off to get an education, and we don't give them an opportunity to move home because not everybody can afford an $800,000 starter home. It's a problem. It needs to be addressed. This is the best way we feel that we can get it done by having a developer put that $900,000 in to build that road and take the taxpayers of Vegreville off the hook for that money. We've heard some stories today. I don't know how they started. A lot of councillors have been contacted that we're removing the park over at Foxview. Does anybody hear to that yet? Yeah, we've heard that we're putting nothing but fourplexes in there. Yeah. We have the facts, folks, and we're about to vote on it. We're going to let Councillor Lemko talk because Councillor Lemko is the closest to this situation. And I know not all of you are going to agree with me. You're going to walk out the door and you're going to be angry. But I want you all to know that there ain't one of us on here that aren't making a decision what we feel is the best for our community at this time. Thank you. Councillor Lemko.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thanks for being here all. I look across the crowd and I see many people that I've grown up with in this community. I've coached children, your children. I've coached soccer and baseball and all that. I've been living in Vegreville since 1974, 50 years. Built my house in 79, Foxview. And back then, when Anita and I went to purchase houses in a lot, we had a choice of 6 lots in the community. So we built there and had some neighbors build there as well. I sit in my dining room window and I look out the window, and since 1979, I watch geese land in that field north of my place, watch deer run through and foxes. I watch a fox play with the neighbor's cat in that field. And now I sit here, I'm soul searching. You have no idea. That development will impact me more than anybody in this room, anybody in this town. I'm the closest to it. I look out my dining room window, there's nothing there except open field. 35 feet from my house will be the siding of another building, be it single family or whatever. It will be there. I will look out and see a fence with some siding, maybe a window so I can wave to the neighbor. The traffic that'll flow past my place, be it coming around or up and back down, will impact me more than anybody in this room. That road's been closed forever. It's never been opened. I've watched them put those hydrants in back in 79. I blow my leaves in there. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do that anymore. But regardless of that, that impacts Anita and I the most. But I sit here, and I've been on council for 2 terms. I'm hoping to run again. But I sit here and I go, I represent the community and the residents who voted me in. And they trusted me with the job. They have their faith in me that I make the right decisions for the greater good of Vegreville. I've sat in this chair for coming 8 years. We went through the closing of the CPC Center. We went through the fighting for Prosperity Park to get funding. We got funding. Then we went through the battle with Inca. They're still around. They haven't put a penny down. We went through that battle. Now, when Kendall and Holly and Travis, and when you built your houses, Cole, that was exciting. It was exciting for me because now we got some growth, some development. And I looked forward to it. I watched those houses coming up when you were building. I watched your children play in the park, ride their bicycles on that pump track that we put in. There used to be a big hill there. I couldn't see past it. My children tobogganed on that big hill. My grandchildren came to that big hill, and we played King of the Castle. My grandchildren came and said, where's the hill, Grandpa? Well, we moved it for a development. So now they use the pump track as King of the Castle. At least I can get up it. Now, the park. So there's going to be changes. I know that. It's inevitable. We sit in the backyard and watch the geese fly over. And the most exciting thing is to hear your children laughing in that park. And it'd be nice to have more children laughing in that park, riding their bikes up and down the street. Because the youth are what you were once, what I once was. Now, the only thing I can do is enjoy the rest of my life with youth in the community and that. So, and you can see the flavor of where this is going. And the council's mentioned supporting or not. My decision, yes or no, sitting here right now won't make a difference. But I need to support the moving ahead of a project that'll impact the greater good of this community. The developments, I have not seen any development. I have no idea what it can be. And when the developer comes through. But folks, we need to make change. And like we're doing, there's numerous investors looking at Prosperity Park. We sit here and we know that. And that'll create many jobs for your children and the future children. We just need places for them to live. We're talking apartment buildings, rental, and there's people who are interested, developers. We're so lucky. We're so lucky that a developer came by and said, we'll help you with your daycare. We'll help you with your housing. And those same type of developers are in Prosperity Park because they believe in this community. They believe in where it's going and where it needs to go. And you can be rest assured this council has worked hard. And we all care. We all care deeply. I care so much about this. Where all you are is like my little community, my little Hutterite colony, right around where I am. Because we see each other almost every day. Like I almost know the names of your dogs. Like that's how close we are. And it impacts me and my wife. My heart's hurting. But I got to know and do what's right for Vegreville. So that's all I have. Sorry if I rattled on, but I got my opportunity to say my piece. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other comments? Okay, we have a motion for the second reading of the bylaw. All those in favor? Carried. I'll take a motion for third and final reading. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any more comments? I have one I'd like to say. There will be some changes, but the future growth of what 60th Avenue looks like, I think that we should get together and talk about how the next development moving west on 60th looks like. Go ahead.
Thank you for bringing that forward, Your Worship. I think maybe that might be the piece that is yet to be determined. This is step one in a long list of things that have led us to this point. Director Lefebvre gave some of the history, and I guess maybe those of us that have been here long have forgotten some of the details too. So some of these previous council's decisions are decisions that we've inherited on this council. So when the mayor was talking about the cost being borne for this first phase by the taxpayers current in Vegreville, we want to be able to make decisions that are in the benefit. We're actually charged with making the decision for 30 years from now, considering the people that live here currently, which is no easy task. To imagine 30 years from now what's going to be in that field. I don't think Councillor Lemko would have anticipated having 4 new neighbors. And honestly, at this point too, we can consider some of those conversations in the next phase, but we don't know what the developer will do next. And so that's part of the uncertainty here too, is speculation. So the developer will build, and the realtors would tell you what people are looking for. They will also tell you that when people are going on the website and there's nothing to buy, they go on to the next community. We want them to stay here.
Okay, thank you. Again, we'd love to get to the point where the price of a lot in this community would carry the cost of the development, but we're not there. And we can't expect the taxpayers to fund them because it takes a long time to get the taxes back. So I really think that as we move forward with what the planning looks like, and we need to have planning there, we need to have planning on the southeast corner. We just got a little bit of work to do over there for about a year and a half to get some things figured out there, and what it looks like be across the road to the south of the immigration center, the former immigration center, whatever they call it now, the apartments or whatever. But we will include the public in those conversations, and it's not like we didn't know that we were gonna be removing the R1 here right now, the possibility. But we wanted to finish those 7 houses in phase 1. That was the biggest part of this whole move, was they had to stay single family before we went to the south, so. Okay, all those in favor of the third and final reading? Carried. Thank you. Now you're all welcome to stay for the rest of the council meeting if you would like.
Your worship, may we take a 5-minute break, recess while the
Okay, a
chambers
5-minute
close?
break. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now, most of the folks that were here for the public hearing and the passing of the bylaw have left, and I want to thank all those that did show up. It's nice to see when we have a public house, open house, or a public hearing that people do show up, and it shows that people are concerned about our community, so I do appreciate it. So, next up, we have a letter from the Honorable R.J. Singerson, Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. This letter is addressed to our Community Engagement and Economic Development Manager, Jameson Brown. It says, Dear Jameson Brown, I'm pleased to confirm that I have approved grant funding of $90,000 to the town of Vegreville. This funding will support the Vegreville Wayfinding Signage Master Plan Implementation Project. The funding will be provided in accordance with the Ministerial Grants Regulation following execution of a funding agreement between the town of Vegreville and Alberta Agricultural and Irrigation. For further details on arranging the funding agreement, please contact Scott Long, Executive Director, Rural Economic Development Branch. Best wishes for the successful completion of this project. Sincerely, Honorable R.J. Sigerson, Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll take a motion to receive and file the letter. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Any comments? Well, it is very nice. And yeah, go ahead, Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I will comment because it's been a long time waiting for these signs to finally be approved. So we've had a few years worth of discussions on wayfinding signage, and I think that it's going to be very nice to see that these monies and the monies that we had put away will actually start giving direction in town that's all uniform and same, and maybe make it easier for people to find different locations within the town. So, yeah, I'm pleased that we finally got some funding.
Jameson, can you just give us a quick overview of what this wayfinding is about and what it's going to look like?
Which camera I'm on. Yes, Your Worship. So it was 2 years ago that, again, through grant funding, we were able to undertake the wayfinding design and essentially the master plan, the document as to where, based on the experts with Cygnus Wayfinding, they're a group out of British Columbia that have done wayfinding for several municipalities across Western Canada, as well as several large entities and organizations. They came and did an overall assessment of our community, and based on traffic patterns and based on some of the new branding that the town of Vegreville has brought in, they designed the signage around that branding and then, kind of established where these signs should go. And it was interesting that this past summer at the Visitor Information Center, the staff there conducted surveys, and one of the questions, unprompted, it was just in, do you have any additional comments, was from visitors that the town at times was difficult to navigate, especially for those who were coming into the community and going to a lot of our major festivals and events, which Vegreville is very blessed to be able to host thanks to the good work of volunteers in this community. So these signs, in terms of the implementation, will be at key areas along major thoroughfares in Vegreville, the entrances or exits, depending on how you're looking at it, into our community. As well, the hope would be some rebranding at the Visitor Information Center, given the number of visitors that come to the community, and even some signage downtown in the hopes of coordinating an easier way to get from point A to point B if you're walking from point A to point B in downtown Vegreville. So that's the hope. Now that this grant funding is in place, we can get to work on putting together how this will come into fruition. There's no guarantee the signs will be up in time for festival season, but certainly by the end of summer, we're hoping that those signs are up and again, make it a lot easier for visitors to get from point A to point B, but also do a great job of promoting our community and our assets to those who may just be driving through. If you're driving through on Highway 16A, maybe you don't realize that we have a tremendous ag society grounds or an arena or a swimming pool. These act as two things. One, again, let people know how to get from point A to point B, but also hammer home the point that we do have these amenities. They're just kind of tucked off the main path.
Yeah, and they'll all be a common look, so they'll all look exactly the same. So when you enter town, you just be looking for that one sign. As you drive through town, it'll identify all of our facilities and what's happening in town. And as you move through, it will be very easily to pick up when they're all in unison. They all looked exactly the same. Okay, Councillor Bullock.
This is really good news, and from the seven seasons I sat in the park selling ice cream and listening to people ask me questions of where things were in this town, and when they showed up, they would have to go back, pointing back to the Ag Society grounds or whatever. This will be very welcome, and I can understand what the past councils were going through trying to get it done.
And they'll all be anodized on aluminum, so they have a life expectancy of at least 50 years. So it's something that'll carry forward. So, okay, all those in favor, receive and file? Carried. Thank you. Up next, we have a minister from the Honorable Mike Ellis, the Deputy Premier of Alberta and the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services.
Thank you, Your Worship. This letter is addressed to myself, and it's Dear Miss Ling, I'm in receipt of your January 24th, 2025 email to my colleague, the Honorable Mickey Amory, Minister of Justice, regarding a request to establish a joint policing committee for Vegreville and Mundare. Your email was forwarded to the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Services for a response. As the minister responsible for policing and police governance in the province, I am pleased to respond and provide you with the following information. I appreciate you taking the time to write in connection with the establishment of a joint municipal policing committee for the towns of Vegreville and Mundare. I understand your councils feel that a joint municipal committee would better suit the specific needs of both your communities and foster closer collaboration between local authorities, law enforcement, and residents. As you are no doubt aware, Alberta government enhanced policing governance is a priority by passing the Police Amendment Act in December of 2022. The measures in the Act give municipalities policed by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police a voice in setting local and provincial-wide policing priorities and goals by creating municipal, joint municipal, and regional policing committees, as well as establishing the permanent Provincial Policing Advisory Board. The Police Amendment Act and Police Governance Ministerial Regulation supports that only municipalities with a population over 5,000 that hold municipal police service agreements may form part of a joint municipal policing committee. Given that Mundare has a population of 792 and is policed by the Provincial Police Service, the town is not eligible to form part of a joint municipal policing committee. The town of Mundare is represented by the Provincial Police Advisory Board. For the municipality of Vegreville specifically, the town can either remain as part of the Eastern Alberta Regional Policing Committee or opt to form its own municipal policing committee with my approval. To facilitate collaboration between two communities, an informal option could be considered. The two communities could come together on their own or with other neighboring communities to collaborate on matters concerning policing and public safety via on an informal regional police advisory committee. These local advisory committees, together with their local detachments, have been operating successfully for many years. Although these informal groupings are not recognized under the Police Amendment Act, they serve as an important community-led solution that could help meet the specific objectives of both communities and perhaps other neighboring communities. Thank you for everything you continue to do to help keep Alberta's communities safe and secure, and for your commitment to excellence in civilian governance. I look forward to hearing further with respect to how the town of Vegreville wishes to approach police governance, considering the information provided here. And I also look forward to continuing our strong working relationship. Sincerely, Honorable Mike Ellis, Deputy Premier of Alberta, Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services.
Thank you for that. Take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments? Have we talked this through enough? Go ahead, Councillor Barry.
Sure, I'll start it off. I think the aspect we've discussed a lot is the Eastern Alberta Regional Policing Committee they speak of that we could remain a part of. It's such a broad, large area, including towns so far away, and some of them probably with more clout than we have, that our voices would get lost. And those communities spread so far don't have the same concerns or situations that we have. So I think that was a lot of what we were talking about in terms of maybe it's not best to remain part of the Eastern Alberta Regional Policing Committee. It's a big area.
For sure. Councillor Rudick.
Yeah, this isn't quite the answer that I'd hoped for, particularly when they have created a different situation for policing, or a different scenario where policing could be considered a little bit more responsive. I'm not certain that this is an option that, I don't like the answer. I don't like them telling us no, and I don't like the options that they've given us, because I think this council has been pretty clear on the fact that we're not going to be better served by having a different police force, which was the initial push of the provincial government. At this point, our concern is being able to provide safety to the citizens and the residents of our community, and it needs to be responsible. We've got a great relationship with Staff Sergeant Folk and his members that are located here. I'm not certain that we'll be continued to be served. I guess there is no doubt that we'll continue to be loud advocates for the needs of Vegreville and make sure that our concerns are listened to, but I'm not certain what stands next. I don't know that being part of that larger region is helpful.
CAO Ling.
And just to clarify that we did write back to Minister Ellis and on March 13th and requested that Vegreville be allowed to form its own municipal policing committee.
Maybe what we could do at these meetings alone, we could ask somebody from Mundare and somebody from the county of Minford to attend unofficially. Then we could all sort of work on it together. But we can't say that out loud, okay? Okay, well, I think we've decided we'll go on our own, and we don't need to be sending somebody that know what's happening in Lac La Biche, with their policing. We know what our problems are here, and we have a very good working relationship. So, did you have a comment, Councillor Bowie?
No, just that with you leading it, we're good at being loud.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, all those in favor? Carry. Next up, we have a meeting from, we have a letter from Rhonda Hunter, and she's the chairman. First of all, she's the mayor of Didsbury, and she's also the chairman of the new caucus, the Midsize Town Mayor's Caucus. Dear Mayor McPhee, the Midsize Towns Mayor Caucus would like to invite the town of Vegreville to join our collaborative, solution-based group of mayors, a group who advance priority issues and initiatives through positive advocacy on matters that directly impact mid-sized towns in Alberta. We are very much appreciated that you took the time to attend the Mid-Size Towns Mayor Caucus. I'm going to have to come up with something for that. Information meeting on March the 5th at 2025 at Alberta Muni Spring Leadership Caucus. Thank you for coming to listening to our presentation about what the caucus is doing to strengthen the significant and position the mid-sized towns as a relevant and important voice in our province, and to identify and focus on priorities, issues that will improve the position and well-being of mid-sized towns. Our current membership and executive are excited to welcome new members into the caucus, members who will all truly add to the unified efforts in achieving the goals of the caucus. We have included an invoice for 2025 membership that is due only if you choose to pursue and receive a positive response from your council to become a member. Should you receive support for membership in a motion of council, please let me know through email or letter. We are very excited about welcoming Vegreville as a member of the Mid-Sized Towns Mayor's Caucus. Our caucus stands in solidarity for all mid-sized towns in Alberta, recognizing that we share common issues and infrastructure challenges and the need for sustainable support. Together, we are advocating for the brighter future for every mid-sized town in Alberta. Sincerely, on behalf of the Mid-Sized Towns Mayor's Caucus, Rhonda Hunter. So, in a motion, I would look for right now would be to receive and file and to become a member of the MTMC. Councillor Bullock.
I'll make that motion that we become a member.
It was CIO Ling attended that meeting with me in Edmonton, and it's all the mid-sized towns in Alberta coming together, and they're lobbying the government on what our special needs are in infrastructure and what our challenges are. And I know that Councillor Rawawa, she's always talking about towns our size that are the hub for the region, and where everybody relies on all of our services and all of our rec, and they just, nobody ever realizes how much infrastructure and the services that their residents and our businesses have to supply. So this is one thing that this caucus has realized, and they've actually have 2 members of the government of Alberta that are actually part of their discussions that they go directly to, and it's so they've already got a good start in it. So I think moving forward, I know a lot of the mayors, they were a little, when it first came out, we didn't know a lot about it, and then a lot of us showed up for this meeting, and I see a lot of them have joined and had a motion of council sent out. So go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
Yeah, I think anytime that we can advocate to a larger body, which is the province, that's a great effort. I just would be cautious as somebody who is listening that there's the big city mayors, there's mid-sized city mayors, there's the villages, there's the summer villages, the Rural Municipalities Association, and just would want to be cautious that as a participant, we would want to make sure that these issues also get dovetailed into what Alberta Municipalities puts forward to the government, because I'll just say that in attending Rural Municipalities Association conference last week, it's very clear that it's easy for the government to be able to listen to one or the other and pit municipalities against each other in a way that's not very productive, no different than the letter that we just received too. So this is a wide range of sizes of communities, and so the services that we provide to the region are quite different than some of the members that would be including those that are 1,000. So towns is a wide range of sizes. I think anytime that you get together with neighbors and talk about your common concerns and successes, it's a good thing. And as you saw, that some of the people that are in charge, Mayor of Didsbury is very motivated to make sure that it's a positive moving forward. I just would want to make sure that we continue to feed back to Alberta municipalities all of our concerns.
Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. I think it's a good opportunity. I think especially you get to talking to some of these towns that have had the same issues or problems that we have. Sometimes it's nice to hear what other towns have done well, where they've got funding, and also what they've not done well, so we can avoid doing it ourselves. So it's always good for that conversation.
I guess I should let you know what the membership is.
Yeah, that's probably good for.
$250 a year. And there's some sharp mayors on there that have very good relationships with members of the Treasury Board, and again, you know, just Minister McIver has supplied one of his staff as a full-time person to be on the board, so very good. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, who wants to do this one from Trevor Warwawa, Provincial Committee? Maybe you should do that one. We're going to get Councillor.
Thanks, Your Worship. This comes from the provincial committee that hosted the provincials this weekend. Dear Town of Vegreville, on behalf of our U13A Provincial Committee, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your generous sponsorship of the U13A Provincial Championships. Your support has played a vital role in making this event possible and ensuring that our young athletes have the opportunity to compete, grow, and create lasting memories. Your commitment to youth sports not only helps develop talent, but also instills values of teammanship, perseverance, and sportsmanship. It is because of sponsors like you that these young players can chase their dreams and experience the joy of competing at a high level. Once again, thank you for your generosity and support. We truly appreciate your contribution and look forward to your continued partnership in the future. Go Wranglers, and thanks from Trevor Warawa, Provincial Committee Chair.
Okay, I'll need a motion to receive and file. Councillor Rudick makes the motion.
Your Worship.
Go ahead.
I attended the some games at the provincial tournament. It was nice to see the amount of people at the park by the Sunshine Club. That tells you how many people were in the building, and the youth that were there, and the excitement that was in the building. And some good hockey. I just don't know who ended up winning. I have no idea. Does anybody know?
I believe it was Strathcona.
I watched them play. There's a young lad on that team that I coached his dad when he was a player and coming to Vegreville to play hockey. So I had a visit with him as well. So good little team.
Very nice. We did the opening ceremonies. Jameson was there, and our MLA, Jackie Hominick, or Armstrong Hominick, was there, and there was another guy from the Oilers, Hunter, from the Edmonton Oilers, was there as well. Not Dale Hunter, the mascot. And they lined up all the teams on the ice, and then Vegreville played right after the game. We dropped some ceremonial face-off pucks, and it was a buzz. You know, it was nice. There was one team, and we were walking around the outside of the rink to get to the other side to start where the carpet was. And every one of them come out of that room with blonde hair, and I was thinking, I guess their mums must have been busy dyeing all their hair blonde. But anyway, and again, I just want to thank. I went a little early and then stopped and met with the organizing committee in the skate sharpening room, and just got a feel for how much work is put into this tournament, and we just got to thank them, you know, like they, you know, to pull this off. And most of the people that I talked to, I actually knew some people there that I didn't realize that their kids were even playing hockey. So it was nice, and heard lots of nice comments about Vegreville. So thank you to the organizing committee and to Vegreville Minor Hockey. It was well done. So all those in favor? Carried. Okay, our accountant, CAO Ling, will go ahead with our monthly cash statement.
Thank you, Your Worship, but that was a little generous with the accountant. So this note that was left for me by our corporate services director. The town of Vegreville opened the month of February with 3.92 million and closed with 3.08 million, seeing a net cash decrease of $846,000. Major sources of cash included $112,834, which was our Q4 GST return. And our major uses of cash included $70,024 for construction payments, $637,646 to the for forced main payments, and $62,865 for annual insurance premiums.
Thank you. Take a motion for the cash statement as it was presented. Councillor Berry makes it. Any comments? I know people are probably looking at the bottom line here and thinking, where the heck's all your money going? We're actually, we have a debenture bylaws in place for the money that we spent on the forced main, but we're waiting for the government of Alberta to announce lower interest rates that are going to make available in the 1st of April, and well, I hear the Bank of Canada will be looking again at another interest rate cut. So on this type of money, it means a lot, although it would be nice to get this money back in our account and start collecting some interest again. So all those in favor? Gary, thank you. What do we got next? Well, finally. Manager Newton, let's go with your body-worn camera policy.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening. At a recent incident, determined the need to amend the MOS 2008 body worn camera policy to add fire service members the use of the body camera when responding alone and or documenting fire emergency scenes. At the March 17 Legislative Committee meeting, administration presented the amendments to the Town Council that included adding the definition of a fire service member, revising the policy statement, scope, responsibilities, recording expectations to recording, storage of media, and retention sections to include for the fire service members, as well as adding a new section for the use of the body body worn cameras specific to the fire service members. In order to implement this policy, Vegreville Fire Services will purchase a new body camera and an external hard drive at a cost of $300, and this will be purchased from the fire services equipment budget. Upon adoption of this policy, Vegreville Fire Service members will be informed of the policy approval, and all members will be taught how to use the BWC in accordance with MOS 2008. The fire chief will be instructed on how and when to inspect the BWC and how to upload recording information to the database. This policy will be shared on the Town of Vegreville website. Your option today, Your Worship, we recommend that the Town Council approve the amendments to MOS 2008 for the body camera worn policy.
Okay, looking for a motion to support the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
And just a clarifying question, like in the legislative meeting, this is just for the one camera, correct?
Yes, that is correct, Councillor Bullock.
Okay, Councillor Rudy.
I was not at the legislative committee meeting, and I have not watched the YouTube video. I apologize. I have not kept myself up to date. Can you please illuminate the need? Is there something that you can share publicly about what has driven the need?
Not publicly, Councillor, but a recent incident determined that it would be in best practice to have that body camera available to the members that are responding in an alone situation.
Thank you very much. I think then, given the policy that we just passed in terms of protecting our staff, and as, how do we term firefighters now? Paid on call? Yeah, paid on call staff, we want to ensure that the highest standard of safety is maintained so that we can continue to grow and retain the number of firefighters that we have. This sounds like a good policy, and I appreciate the movement forward.
And again, when you're alone in situations, an emergency, first responder on scene, if it's a fire person, and again, it protects the public too. I mean, everything will be recorded, so. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay. We now have one more from Manager Newton.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Vegreville Fire Services has been identified to receive an appropriate vehicle donation from Enbridge to allow an additional water skid that was also donated to respond to emergencies within Vegreville Fire Services area. The vehicle will not come equipped with emergency equipment, as the new apparatus is going to service. The need for the emergency response SUV is no longer required for our service. At the March 17 Legislative Committee meeting, administration discussed options with council on how to dispose of the asset and to have all funds obtained to allocate to retrofit the new vehicle for emergency response equipment. Unit 98 was purchased in 2009 for a total of $78,798.38. This asset is funded by the town of Vegreville and is not shared with the county of Minburn. It is fully depreciated, therefore all proceeds will be a gain on the sale. It can be used for the retrofit of the new vehicle known as Rapid 2. Additional funds may be required depending on the final sale of the unit. Administration believes that Unit 98 could be sold at auction for between $8,000 to $10,000. Administration will continue to work with the vehicle outfitters to have adequate emergency equipment ordered for the Rapid 2 project. And our recommendation today, Your Worship, is that Town Council approve the disposal of asset Unit number 98 through auction, and all proceeds from that sale of Unit 98 be used to retrofit the new unit of Rapid 2.
Okay, looking for a motion. Support the recommendation. Councillor Lampregot makes the motion. I just have one question, Manager Newton. When we looked at this last week, did the recommendation include the proceeds from the sale of Unit 98 to be used to fund the retrofit of Rapid 2? Was that in that?
Yes, Your Worship, it was part of the original recommendations. The recommendation given back from council was to use auction.
Yeah, to use auction, yes. but where it says, all proceeds from the sale of Unit 98 to be used to fund the retrofit of Rapid, the name that we're putting on this new truck or this used truck that we're spending some money on. Was that in last week's recommendation? Well, I got Councillor Rudick first, but it was?
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I just had a question about, I appreciate the recommendation is very specific here, but when we usually sell our assets, does it go to a general reserve or vehicle reserve?
It usually goes to a general reserve when, the general reserve when we get rid of our assets, so to speak. But usually it's done bulk. Fleet will determine a bunch of equipment that will go at one time. And this is because of the gift of the new vehicle, it's becoming it's a little more timely than waiting for one of the general auctions or the general sales, however it's done by fleet, is done.
So, sorry, as a follow-up question then, I appreciate that this will go towards outfitting that donated vehicle, and big appreciation to Enbridge for being so generous in their donation. I just want to put a pin in it. We've had a few instances with firefighting generating, unfortunately, some income for the community, and wanting to make sure that we continue to grow that, the approach of how we provide fire training, fire services, and all the additional pieces that make us a viable fire service for those that are going to be joining the force. So this might be something that we want to consider as we move forward. I think this is a good recommendation, but I'd like to have that maybe part of a bigger discussion when we do strategic planning, maybe with the next council, to consider all of those funds that come into that kind of purview that would be used for firefighting. Just because we've had the unfortunate gift from firefighting in other communities the last number of years with the expansion of fire services, or the need for fire services outside of the community, which means we've had extra money.
Okay, Councillor Bullock.
Yeah, when we spoke at the ledge, the concerns I had with this was obviously going to an auction. It says to an auction. Do we know of which auction it's going to? That's my first question, because my suggestion would be Ritchie Brothers, and that's the one it should be going to. So I would actually like that stated here. And I also, the other thing was, like, my opinion was I wanted the proceeds to go to our reserves. So anything they request after that, they can request it to pull out of reserves, because we don't know what that amount is going to be. I want to know that amount of what it actually is. So I'd like to see a change in this motion.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Berry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I had asked specifically a couple of questions. One of them was addressed by our Director of Corporate Services. It's getting late for me. And I had asked about the policy as to whether the monies had to go to a particular reserve or back to it. And she indicated, if I recall correctly, that we don't actually have a policy. And there should be maybe some discussion around, as Councillor Work said, that maybe we should be talking about just exactly when we do dispose of an asset, where the monies go, so that we don't have to have this discussion. I know this is sort of like an in and out, because if it goes to reserves, then in order to outfit this new vehicle, we're going to have to take it from reserves because it's not budgeted. But I can certainly appreciate the aspect of maybe that means that we actually do know the monies that go in and the monies that come out. The other question I did ask was, following this, was would it gain more at auction if it was fully equipped rather than stripping it? And the answer I got was it would bring more if it was fully equipped, because I think, to Councillor Bullock's question, you indicated that it has about 145,000 kilometers on it. So that would make it fairly new, really.
Yes, it's doesn't have a lot of kilometers on it. It does have a lot of engine hours on it, though, because it was a response vehicle originally from the ambulance service.
Okay.
That was identified, but we believe the price is still would be able to get at auction.
Okay.
Okay, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. I agree with Councillor Bullock. I'd like to get quotes for stuff. Obviously, ensure we're buying Canadian. And I think that, yeah, we can put this back into the reserve or wherever, but if you want to outfit Rapid 2, they could pull from reserves and then put whatever the proceeds are back in.
So then would, Councillor Lemko, would it be fine that your motion would be the town council approve the disposal of asset unit number 98 using Ritchie Brother Auctions, all proceeds to go into the fleet reserve?
Yep, I'm approved that.
Are you all good with that?
Right, I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I do feel like maybe that's a little bit granular to be specific, and with due respect, Councillor Bullock, do we know, is that the right place to dispose of these assets? I'm assuming that, I guess this is indicating that we need to have some additional policy in place to be able to determine the best place and the best return for an asset that was purchased by the town. Do we know that Ritchie Brothers and
Well, if you want to put it in front of the most eyes, that would be where you would take it.
okay, and our traditional means of disposal for our fleet?
We used to have sealed bids and open them here at the town hall and then get a hold of those who had put their bids together.
Okay, so we've already improved the process and made it more transparent and driven up the possibility of the number of people that could bid on our items, as well as ensure that we've got a better opportunity to earn more money. So I'm comfortable with the motion amended as proposed.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
We still have to vote on the original, or on the amended.
Just a question to Director Lefebvre through Fleet. Is there anything else at this time that we have ready to go that may be able to go to the auction at this time?
Not at this time. We'll have some equipment as our 3 new big units come in here, then we will have something, so.
Okay, thank you. Manager Newton, thank you for staying late, and we appreciate it.
Good evening, Your Worship.
Okay, up next, we have Infrastructure and Development Director, Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Worship. The topic is subdivision application 25 TOW 001, lot block A plan 7620421. Proposal is to review the subdivision application and approve the process to proceed. On March 17th, 2025, Planning and Development created an application for a subdivision approval to subdivide 3 acres out of a 147-acre parcel of town-owned land listed in the Municipal Development Plan as Urban Reserve. Lot Block A, Plan 7620421. Communication strategies, once approved to proceed with the process, the subdivision authority officer will, as per the Municipal Government Act, send notification of the subdivision application to the government departments, persons, and local authorities as required by the subdivision and development regulation, the adjacent landowners, and post on the town's website and social media. The option is that recommendation is being made the town council approve the process to proceed.
Okay. Take a motion for the recommendation.
Sure, I'll take another hot one.
Well, this is what we do. Okay, Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Rudick.
Can you give a layperson's explanation of where this is?
The explanation of this is on Maple Street, sometimes known as 60th Street, and it is between Heritage House and the 55+ R3 development.
Okay. And after this subdivision approval goes through, there will be a rezoning on that piece of property as well, just so everybody is aware.
That's correct. It'll be the same process that we've just experienced.
It'll be fine. And this is something that has been brought forward by a business that will be at the park, that they need to build an apartment building for their own employees. Because they can no longer wait for us to supply any more housing, so. Okay, is there any more comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you very much. Well, we're getting a little faster now. Uh-oh, this one may slow us down. CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. This next RCD is a request for tax incentive for tax roll 336500. The background on this is Joe and Karen Billick of Billick Holdings purchased 5125 52nd Ave, tax roll 336500 in 2024. In the past year, they have made significant renovations to the building, and the food bank plans to move into this space in May of 2025. They will be using approximately 50% of the building, and Billick Holdings has requested a tax incentive equivalent to 50% of the 2025 tax notice and assessment value. The financial implication of this tax incentive is approximately $2,500 based on the 2024 taxation and assessment notice. The 2025 General Administration Property Tax Incentive budget will cover these costs. Communication strategy, Joe and Kara Billick of Billick Holdings will be advised in writing of council's decision. So the recommendation is administration recommends council approve the request from Billick Holdings to provide a taxation incentive of 50% of the 2025 taxation notice and assessment amount to be paid out of the administration property tax incentive budget in 2025.
Okay, thank you. Take a motion for the recommendation. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Again, we talked about this last time, but a lot of people coming together to help give this space to the food bank. I was there on Friday. I did a food bank pickup for ATCO, and I asked the question, I hear you are getting a new space. What's that like? And all of them stopped and they were like, we are so excited. We are so happy. It's going to be easier to load. It's going to be easier to unload. There's going to be a way in and a way out. Nobody's tripping over each other. And they talked about the concrete getting poured to do their ramp. And it just shows that it's a big deal and it's a big help to the community. So bravo to everybody involved and the Billocks.
Again, it's a very good news story for the community. I mean, I want to thank Brian and Marie Barron, how they stepped up right away when the flood happened at the previous location at the church. And they brought the food bank into the front end there. And then since Joe and Karen have purchased that building, and they have been so proud of the community support, the amount of things that have been donated to renovate the front end of this building. And they're signing a 5-year lease with the food bank, and the only charges are 50% of the utilities and 50% of the taxes. So this tax break on this 50% will come directly off what the food bank is paying. And when they move in, I'm sure that between Joe and Karen are going to put a list out of all the local businesses that have donated time, donated supplies, cut their bills in half, and just done a really good job over there to create what is going to be a lot more convenient for loading and unloading and bringing people through, and all the renovations they've done. So good on them. So go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
And just to add to that, just the Billocks of how active they've been in community and all the sports that they sponsor and everything they do for community here, and doesn't even amount to nearly $2,500. It's way more. And every year you could see their name pop up everywhere on the events that they support for this town. And it's so important for us. So we're very lucky to have people like that in our community that are positive about what's happening here.
I know it's a big win for the food bank, and they're very happy that they won't be stepping over it just in one door, and then everything gets processed. The freezers are all lined up, and then there's a little bit of privacy as people come in the other side to pick up their baskets and stuff. It is a big deal to them over there, so good on them. Okay, all those in favor? Carried, so you'll notify them. Okay, so we don't have any more with the bylaw. Okay, so we're gonna go through council reports, and I'm just sort of asking council to be as quick as they can with their reports today. Thank you. Councilor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. On March the 12th, I attended the Ag Society Board meeting. I'll skip that. Ledge meeting on the 18th. Met with the school trustees for the Elk Island Catholic on the 19th. Tonight's public hearing and regular meeting. And just one other note, I would like to get permission on May the 1st, Covenant Community and Foundation Board Spring Retreat that'll be held in Edmonton. It includes, it's for Covenant Health, for the hospital, et cetera, for our board members. And it includes a site tour of the new Covenant Community Health Center, Alberta's first community-based wellness hub, creating a one-stop wellness destination of integrated health and social support. And it's located close to the Grey Nuns Hospital. Tarcuzio from the county and myself are both considering that it would be good for us to attend this and learn a little bit more about Covenant Health and how this, particularly how this community health center is set up.
Okay, well, let's ask Leslie. There you go.
Permission granted?
You have
Thank
money
you.
in your account. Okay, thank you for that. Councilor Bullock.
Thank you, Your Worship. So back on March 12th, and you know, this wasn't part of my council duties, but I thought it was something I should listen to. So MCS Net Fraud Prevention Webinar. So it was very informative about fraud and how it's approached and what are the warning signs to notice about. And there is another MCS fraud prevention session coming up. It's through Vegman Learning, I do believe, coming up. Can't remember the date, but check out Vegman Learning's website. And definitely, if you can sit in on this, it's important for everybody to identify fraud, because we all know people who have been victims of fraud. And we all have gotten those phone calls, and sometimes you get let on a little longer than you should. So that's what I have to say on that one. March 18th, the Legislative Committee meeting. On March 19th, our Elk Island Catholic Schools Board of Trustees and Town Council Advocacy meeting. And tonight's public hearing and Town Council meeting. And I missed the Advisory Board meeting, but Councillor Curtis will fill you up on that one.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilor Burdick.
March 13th, attended the MD Minburn Foundation meeting and did our annual audit. I'll let Councillor Lamco illuminate some more on the building project there. March 13th, immediately following, had Vegman Learning Society meeting. And as Councillor Bullock referenced, there are a number of sessions that they have in the next little while. Specifically, a spam and fraud seminar on April 1st at the Sunshine Club. There is also that evening a healthcare for newcomers session that's going to be held in partnership at the Vegreville Centennial Library. Good opportunity to be able to demonstrate to newcomers to the community how exactly to access healthcare. We've got a lot of out of province as well as some of our Ukrainian newcomers that wouldn't necessarily know how to navigate through the health system here. It's not prescription, it's more ability to be able to see where you go to access what services. So when do you go to the health unit? When do you go to the doctor's office? When do you go to the hospital? And how do you get to all those places? There are first aid courses, tech support courses that are being offered by Vegman Learning, as well as their first aid, again, being one of the most highly sought after. I understand that there are some ongoing conversations with Arctic Response because without the grant that they have in place, that they need to do some more cooperation there. Elk Island Catholic School Board meeting with council was a great opportunity to be able to talk about our goals and dreams for the future and theirs. I had mentioned at that meeting that Buffalo Lake Métis settlement was the only Métis settlement in the province without a school, when we were talking about charter schools and the role that they play in the province's approach to schools, and found out later that day that they have passed the first stage of being able to have a scoping study in Buffalo Lake. So really excited to be able to hear that for them, but more importantly, to be able to see firsthand the importance of advocacy for small rural communities just like ours. And really happy to be able to see that the board there and their superintendent are really keen to be able to learn from our local expertise and understand the community better from our perspective, not just decide what is best for us. And tonight's public hearing council meeting, and thank you very much for our staff for preparing and informing the public about how best to engage with the process tonight.
Thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. March 11th, Legion photo. We did, they had an incentive that they had gotten for their dart tournament. March 17th, the tourism board meeting. 18th, the ledge meeting. 19th, I also attended the Elk Island Catholic School Board meeting. Good to see everybody there. Good chatter, and I believe that our trustee will maybe be doing a talk of the town coming up to highlight some of the things they've been doing, which is great. March 19th as well, the job fair and registration night. So I got to go see the businesses set up and the registration tables. Having the high school kids come through, I was just getting there to do my shift when they were leaving. I heard they were very shy, but they did approach a few different kiosks and ask some questions about careers, so that is good to hear. The public hearing tonight, and I didn't put it into my list, but obviously at the FCSS meeting. So there is one thing, and it's a really big thing. Our Family Resource Network for the last 20 years has been out of the preschool. The preschool is terminating the lease with the FRN effective June, the end of June. So I think the preschool is growing too, and they need some more space. But what we need to find is a spot, temporary and/or permanent, for the resource network to be out of. So basically the whole meeting was brainstorming of places you might know, people you might know. How can we ask? Maybe there will be some cheaper rent for them, knowing that they're a nonprofit. But it's all in the preliminary stages. They did ask they'll definitely need some help to move out. So we had thrown out some ideas that the town could maybe support with moving some of their equipment and their stuff to a new location. The men's shed was thrown out. They're always looking for things to do. Maybe help them, put up some shelves or whatever they need in their new place. And yeah, if anybody knows, please reach out to the Vegreville FCSS so we can try and get a spot. Similar to what happened to the food bank kind of thing, right? So, tonight's council meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Lemko, tell us about your fishing.
Short and sweet. March 12th, I attended the Legion dart presentation. The 12th in the evening, I also did the, with Cultural Association Building Committee meeting. I chair the building committee over at the Cultural Association. We're putting together a grant application that's going to the government for renovations. The 13th, I attended the MD Minburn Foundation board meeting. We had our audit presented by our auditors, and everything was within what it's supposed to be. And then I was gone for a week, so I missed a lot of meetings. I missed the MD Minburn building committee meeting. I'll be contacting the project manager this week for an update, but he meets with us every 2 weeks to just tell the status of where we are. And I was away fishing. I should have been fishing this week. I attended the public hearing tonight and the council meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. On March the 11th, I had a Teams meeting with the representative from CN, Julianne. It was a good meeting. We talked about the applications for crossing for ATCO, their big gas line that's going to be going underneath the track into the park. We talked about spur coming into the park, what it would look like forming a co-op of different businesses. We don't have access to a study that was done, even though the citizens of Alberta paid for a study once through Inca. So we're sort of starting the process again to bring in but we have hopefully three businesses that want to go together on that spur. So very good conversation, and I look forward to have a lot more with CN. And I don't know if you all know who our rep is, our public relations person, Julianne, but she is a really good person to work with. On the 12th, I made with a few other council members over at the Legion, and they received their what do we call it? Their
Local sports and event hosting incentive.
They had a big dart tournament, and it was a 2-day tournament, so they qualified. On the 13th, it was our regional recreation feasibility study for the new rec center, and Leslie's done a very good job of running this for quite a while, and we're getting close to having some information we're going to be taking out to the public on this. So it's a big deal, and hopefully it's something that we can look forward to the next 4 to 5 years and getting that project started. On the 13th, I was in Bruderheim, attended the John S. Batuque Water Commission meeting, and our final submission is in to go to the Utilities Commission, and with our ongoing problems with the Northeast, and hopefully we will have something by June, some idea of what the future looks like with the other water commission. On the 17th, we had a great meeting with AJN, the panel business. That'll be our first build at the Prosperity Park. We're hoping to see a large sign go up this week, and they're moving very fast on another project in our town too. 18th, the Ledge meeting. The 19th, we spent the morning with Eski. Is that how we say it, Eski?
Eski, yeah, there's he said like husky, but with the H, but he said it was such a strong French accent that I wasn't sure. ASCII, I believe, is how I've said it.
ASCII Hemp Corporation, and it's a bit of a spin-off of another business that's been around for quite a while. I think they have plants in Vietnam and other places throughout Europe, and they're based out of Quebec. And we've had very good talks with them regarding where they want to be in the park, and hopefully that we can move things forward there right away. We had a supper meeting with Elk Island Catholic Schools, in which I really enjoyed. The conversation was good. The fact that they're willing to wait a couple of years before they do their scoping, their study, to hopefully that we'll be able to show them the population of the young kids in town, that they won't have any other excuse other than to build us a new school. And I did bring up, we did offer to the public school board to come with us in the new rec center, and they said no, they're going to tear down a school. So hopefully maybe one of the Elk Island Catholic school board will be happy you want to build a school with us. But it was a nice meeting. I did the opening ceremonies at the provincials, U13A provincials, and it was great. I mean, it was really nice to see everybody in town and see how excited all the kids were. And tonight's public hearing and tonight's council meeting. That's what I have. So, is there any other business of council? Did we miss anything? I didn't miss one thing this time, did I? Did pretty damn good, I think. Well, if there's no other business of council, I will adjourn this meeting at 9:35.